All right, in today's episode, we're going to talk about how men can become better communicators in a relationship, whether it's your partner or friendship or even family. Healthy communication is the foundation of every strong relationship. It's not about having the perfect words, it's about creating a space where both people feel heard, understood, and respected. Becoming a better communicator doesn't mean talking more, it means communicating with honesty, empathy, and intention. All right, we're going to have 8 bullet points today, 8 talking points. All right, talking point number 1. Listen to understand, not to respond. I'm going to give that to you one more time. Listen to understand and not to respond. So basically, you got to give your partner your full attention and also avoid interrupting or thinking about your response while they're speaking. And also, you got to ask questions to better understand from their perspective. So all those 3 into 1, you got to know your partner. And if you don't know, that's where the healthy questions come in. That's where, a good dialogue in the relationship is going to happen because, you are 2 separate beings. You are 2 separate people. So you guys have both different thoughts, different outcomes, different everything, right? So therefore, if you are really and truly listening to your partner and not just hearing them, you'll be able to understand them and then be like, okay, you know what did you mean by this? Because everybody has a different definition and a different meaning to certain things and certain topics, right? So that's where you got to create the questions so that way you can understand where your partner is coming from and how your partner is feeling as well from their perspective. All right. And a key point from this is sometimes your partner doesn't need you to fix the problem. They need you to know you understood what they were talking about or understand them, right? Because sometimes, especially as men, we're fixers. That's all we do. You give us a problem, we're going to fix it. You tell us something, we're going to do it, right? But sometimes as men, we need to really sit down, relax, take a deep breath and be like, okay, I'm really going to understand you. We're not going to try. We're really going to understand you. And if I don't, both parties have to be in the agreement of, hey, if I ask you this question, don't be a smart ass, don't be funny, don't nothing, right? This is serious right here. So if I ask you a question, please respond accordingly. So that way this relationship can, go to the next level. Like I said, whether it's a friendship, a partner, or even a family member, right? Bullet point number 2 or topic number 2, be honest about your feelings. Okay. This is always a tough one in most cases. You got to express what you're feeling instead of bottling it up. And it's okay to say you're stressed, overwhelmed, or even uncertain in a situation. And the most important one, honest conversations build trust and emotional intimacy. So I'm gonna just, say it all in one. So if you can do all those 3, if you can be honest in the conversation, you know, the other 2 are going to be very easy. You're basically creating a safe space to be in tune with your feelings. If you're feeling some type of way and you tell your partner, it's okay. Your partner will act accordingly. And if they don't, you can tell your partner, hey, you know what? I didn't like the way you acted when I told you about my feelings or when I told you I was stressed or overwhelmed or uncertain, right? Because sometimes as men, we are providers. We are, the main guy that has to deal with everything. The people that, we are what people want us to be, protector and a provider and whatever it is. So that way, if we tell them or tell our partner, family member, that we're not feeling a certain way, then they'll act accordingly and they'll be like, okay, I see what you mean. Right. So we got to learn how to express our emotions as well instead of, like I said, bottling them up in any relationship. Because if you bottle them up, you're expecting your partner to understand you when your partner doesn't understand you in those situations. Right. All right. Topic number 3, or bullet point number 3. Learn to express yourself calmly. Okay. This is always a tough one. I know it's a tough one for me, especially me. You got to speak with respect even during disagreements. Focus on the issue instead of attacking the person or even the problem. And then use I statements instead of blaming someone or something, right? So a lot of people, speak with respect, but they don't know what that means, what that means to me and what I've learned as well is that you got to speak in a manner and in a way where your partner is going to feel safe and not triggered. Even though the argument is not going both of your guys' way, or it's a one-sided, you got to speak with the utmost respect to your partner, to your friend, or even to your family member, right? Because if you speak with respect, then it's going to allow that person or people to really understand you and, bring the walls down, right? Instead of having their walls up, because it's a very intense argument. It's a heated argument. So everybody's walls are up. Everybody's, senses are heightened. Emotions are running high. So if you learn to talk and speak with respect, then it's going to allow that person to be like, okay, he's not or she's not saying whatever it is that they're saying. Right. And also you got to focus on the issue as well, so that way you're not attacking that person or even people, because sometimes we do like to blame that person or others or everything else. Is like, no, we got to focus on what is the issue or what is a problem instead of what we can control, right? And if you use I statements instead of blaming, meaning I'm sorry or I understand or I don't know what you meant by that, it's really taking accountability, right? So for an example, instead of you never listen to me, try I feel unheard when we don't finish conversations, and I'd like us to work on that together. Right? Because sometimes in some cases we don't feel heard or we don't feel seen or we even don't feel understood. So once we put that I, it's really making it singular. It's making it personal. So when you say, hey, I didn't like the way you responded, it's going to allow that person, partner, friend to be like, okay, my bad. Let me act accordingly. Right. And we'll work to a understanding together. Bullet point number 4. Don't avoid difficult conversations. Whew, that one hit me right there. Unspoken issues often grow into resentment. Address problems early with patience and respect. Healthy conflict can strengthen a relationship when handled. I can tell you from personal experience, I did avoid a lot of the difficult conversations just because growing up, I didn't have that healthy environment where I can tell my problems to anybody, because it was always something negative after I said that, right? So as I was growing up, it was hard for me to talk about those difficult conversations because I had the fear of, them talking back to me or them saying, "Oh no, you're the problem," or, "It's on you, it's in your head." So it was always me, 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 me. So that therefore I had to suppress that, side of me, right? So at an early age, it was more of the sense of like, okay, you talk about, a difficult situation or a difficult conversation. You don't want to be told that you're the problem. You don't want to be told anything. You just want to see why, right? So when you address the problem early, meaning you don't prolong the inevitable in the sense of it's going to blow up in your face and you're going to just say things that, you don't mean, but because you bottled it up, you said it. You said what should have been said in the beginning, but with a better and clear and understanding statement or even sentence, right? So when you create a healthy conversation and a healthy conflict, it can strengthen the relationship, whether it's with your partner or your friends or family, or because you're saying, hey, I didn't like the way you said this to me. How can we do this? Okay, then it allows both of you to either work on it or not. Simple as that. Because it takes two to tango, right? It takes two to actually make the relationship work. So if that other person's not willing to put in their effort, then at least you know where you stand in that relationship, right? All right, talking point number 5. Validate before you solve, meaning let your partner know their feelings matter. Validation doesn't always mean agreement, it means acknowledging their experience. And also ask, do you want me to listen or are you looking for advice? Right? Because for me, I can tell you this, I was always giving advice where some people didn't want advice. They just wanted to be heard. They just wanted to be, you know, felt in that case. So if you just let your partner or your friend know that, their feelings matter and hey, you know what? It's okay to feel what you're feeling. It's okay to feel that. Why? Because you're human. That's what you got to let them know. Hey, you're human. You're going through a human experience. It's okay. Just don't let it consume you. Don't listen to those voices. Just act accordingly. Breathe, take a deep breath, and then we'll go from there, right? Talking point number 6. Manage your emotions. Take a moment to calm down before responding when emotions are high. Avoid saying things you'll regret in the heat of the moment. And emotional control leads to healthier conversations, right? So, just in our previous podcast, this is, tying into it. So, whatever your partner, family member, friends are telling you, you got to calm down, right? You got to assess the situation, control your emotions, regulate them, and then, act accordingly, respond accordingly, right? So just don't say things that you're going to regret because, you can't take it back because that person's going to say and feel and be like, okay, I see how that person thinks of me, or wow, I didn't know that that's what you thought of me, right? And we don't want to have that in their head because it's going to build that distrust and it's going to be hard to work on that trust. Or sometimes that trust is broken where that person's like, you know what? You can't rebuild it. You broke it. So sorry. So you got to learn to manage your emotions, guys. Talking point number 7, be consistent. And what that means is communication isn't just about words, it's about actions, right? Because we always know how to talk, but some of us don't know how to put in the action, right? So you got to keep your promises and follow through on commitments. So you got to keep those promises and follow through, whether it ends up good or ends up bad. At least, your partner, your friends, and your family members know that you went through it. You said what you said and you did what you did and you meant what you meant. And hey, even though it didn't end or you didn't get to the goal point, or in some cases, even if you fail to get to the objective, it doesn't matter. At least you had some actions behind it. They say, okay, you know what? That person does what they do. Even though it didn't reach the goal, they still did it. Right. And also, when you trust someone, no, and also trust grows when your actions match what you say. So, going back to that, once you tell them, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and you do it and it doesn't and you come up short, it's okay. At least that person knows that you're about that action. You're about what you say, right? You know what you're going to do and that person is not going to question you from then on because they know you're about that action. You're about what you say and not just talk the talk and not walk the walk, right? All right. And last bullet point, number 8. Make time to connect, right? Make time to connect with your partner, with your friends, with your family members. Why? Because you put away distractions and have regular conversations. Yes, life happens. Yes, work happens. But at the end of the day, you got to make time to just sit there and be with that person that you love and care for and admire sometimes, right? You also got to check in with each other beyond daily responsibilities. So this is talking about a partner, if you're in a couple. So whatever that may look like, because I know in some cases, and I know in my previous relationship, I did want to check in with each other, and sometimes, my partner thought that, oh, why is it a task? Why you got to make this a task? Well, to me, it didn't seem like a task. It it seemed as like, hey, your emotions matter to me. So I'm just checking to see if I have filled in all those blanks or I have filled in your love tank, right? But for whatever reason, sometimes we didn't see eye to eye, or sometimes the understanding wasn't there. There was always miscommunication, and that's fine. Maybe it was something on my part, maybe it was something on my partner's part that, we didn't understand each other. But at the end of the day, you got to check in with each other beyond daily responsibilities just to see, right? And last bullet point, small intentional moments of connection strengthen the relationship. So this can be in anything. This can be with your partner, your friend, or even a family member, because if you make the small intentional moments of connection, because in some cases you want to create that bond, you want to create that trust, you want to just create something very meaningful with that person. You got to strengthen that relationship because you really value that relationship, right? Whether, like I said, is with your partner, your friend, or a family member. All right. And this is my closing message on this topic. Great relationships aren't built by people who never disagree. They're built by people who choose to communicate with honesty, respect, and humility. Becoming a better communicator isn't about winning arguments, it's about building understanding, strengthening trust, and showing the person you love that they're valued and heard. All right, and with that, we will have a Q&A, so stay tuned.
So now for the Q&A, I have a few questions.
Okay. Give it to me, brother.
The first one will be, what does healthy communication look like in a relationship?
All right. So, just so I'm clear, what type of relationship are you meaning? Like a partnership, friendship, or a family member, or all of the above?
I would like to keep it a little bit generic, like not go too deep into each one of them.
Okay. All right. So, all of the above, then, basically, just a blueprint. Okay. So, what does a healthy relationship look like? All right. All right. So, what it looks like is, or what it would look like, right, is how to ask the right questions and how to help that person understand you from that situation standpoint. Meaning, okay, I'm not feeling this or I'm not liking this, so you got to say it in a way where that person will not get triggered. Make sense?
Yeah, I was gonna go with the exact word, not getting triggered.
Mhm. So yeah, so you got to know your audience in this case. You got to know who you're talking to so that way the message can be relayed, and then that person or people can tell you, okay, thank you for telling me that. Now, can you go a little bit into detail? And that's going to allow you to create that healthy, communication and healthy balance, because that person or people are are noticing that, hey, this person, or he understood what I said. He listened. He didn't just say whatever he said. He internalized it and he said, okay, thank you for understanding. Now it creates the topic to go even deeper, and also it creates a healthy balance and it creates trust. Make sense?
Yep. I guess in this case it depends on each individual. Like I said, I wanted to keep it generic, not to go too deep into it because we talk a little bit about this in other episodes, and we'll talk more about it obviously in the future. Um. Okay. Next question will be, why do many men find it difficult to express their emotions?
So would you say emotions in the relationship, right?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So, why do men find it difficult to express their emotions in a relationship? For the simple fact that, like I stated before, it's hard for men to express their emotions and when they haven't been taught that, right? So if they haven't been taught to how to express their emotions or how to articulate their thoughts into words so that your partner or friend or relative can understand, it's even harder to do it when you're in a relationship because you say what you think you mean and your partner internalizes it and there's like, wait a minute. And then it triggers that partner, friend, family member. And then, sometimes as a man, you're just like, you just shut down because it's like, okay, if my question is not being answered and is being thrown back at me, is being used, is being abused, is being all these negative, basically feelings, all this negative attitude when I'm being my most authentic self, right? Because like I said, we don't know how to, articulate, our words when we're emotional. So that's why we as men find it difficult to even tell our partner, "Hey, this is what I'm feeling from this," because our partner will be like, "Well, this, well, you're supposed to pay the bills, or you're supposed to do this. You're supposed." Yes, we know that, but we don't care about that. That we can do. We're giving you a question from an emotional standpoint. We're not giving you a question from a, hey, I already know how to do this. It's just, why am I feeling like this? Or, hey, I'm feeling like this. Can you help me as my partner, as my friend, as a family member? But once we ask those questions to them and it gets thrown back at us in a very negative way, then that's why we don't respond. And then that's why we don't even want to express our emotions to them because we already know the end result, it being thrown back at us, right?
So I think it's basically a lack of an emotional support.
Exactly. There you go. You nailed it.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of the toughest one. It does happen. I think it still happens, but that's the reason of a healthy communication. Okay, so next one will be what's the difference between listening and truly hearing someone?
So listening is basically like going in one ear and out the other. You're really not analyzing it. You're really not, whatever the conversation or the topic is about, you really don't care. That's what it is. You're just like, okay, oh really? That's how you feel? Okay, and that's it. But when you truly hear someone, you're really understanding how they feel because of their tonality, the way they're saying it, how passionate they are. So that's the difference between listening and really truly hearing, is that one, you're just not understanding and you don't care. And to my case, you don't respect that person. But if you're truly hearing someone, you're really taking the time to analyze it, understand them, and feel what they're feeling, even though you don't know what they're feeling. You just know you're feeling something for them because they're saying whatever they're saying on the topic. Did that make sense?
Yeah. I guess I can throw something else in that topic, and is, for example, some people may not want an answer. I guess because it happens. I'm related to this. I feel like I should say something, to help or fix, but sometimes I feel like I need that context. It's like, hey, I don't want you to fix it. I just need you to listen, and that's when the truly hearing is what matters. Okay, so next one, how can couples disagree without damaging the relationship?
Well, how can you disagree? It's basically like you just got to take the context of couples out of it. You're a human being, I'm a human being. You have your way of thinking, I have my way of thinking. You might be right, I might be wrong, right? But at the end of the day, is it right to what we are talking about? Are you right to the question, comment, situation that we are talking about? Because yes, it is okay to agree to disagree, but if we're talking about a situation or a topic, then obviously, I don't like to say like this, but sometimes someone is right more than the other, right? So therefore, you got to create that trust and that, openness and that safeness as well to be like, hey, this is why I'm right. Not just I'm right because I say so.
Oh, because I want to be right.
Exactly. It's like, no, this is not a competition. It's just like, hey, this is why I'm right because the facts are the facts. It's like the sky is blue, and then your partner says the sky is red. It's like, no, if you look up, you see it's blue. So therefore, I'm right. I'm not trying to be, I'm not controlling you to be right, or I'm not saying anything. It's just it's blue, right? So that's how, you know, you can so that's what it means where couples can disagree without damaging the relationship because no one's in competition. No one is being right just to be right. They're being right because you bring facts to the table. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So disagreeing is okay. It's just a matter of understanding that it doesn't have to be I'm right.
Exactly. Yeah, the disagreement is we're both going to disagree to whatever it is, but at the end of the day, the objective was met. The answer was answered in the correct form and not in a controlling aspect.
Mhm. Okay, sounds good.